Let's go ahead and get started. Good morning or good afternoon, whichever time zone you're in. If you're in Arizona, you may be an hour ahead of us. My name is Janine Wilson. I am the workshop chair for SCORE Utah. Thank you for attending our webinar today. We appreciate it. On the screen, you'll see some information about our chapter, the Utah chapter. We cover all of Utah, and we are always looking for folks who might be interested in being part of the SCORE chapter as consultants or as coaches and or as mentors, mentees. So you'll see some information there on the screen as to what our with the size of our organization. It looks like I think actually I want to go back one. Uh, There we go. So for those of you who don't know or are not familiar with SCORE, which many of you probably are because you probably are here because you heard about this workshop through your SCORE organization. SCORE is part of the Small Business Administration. We help and support small business owners who would like to get some mentoring and guidance and advice and expertise as they move through their journey of owning their own organization. So we do provide free mentoring. We have subject matter experts in different parts of running a business as well as general mentors. We also offer webinars and workshops like this one today. We offer lots of those. We also offer them. There are nationwide webinars that you can attend as well. These webinars that we do are recorded and placed on the SCORE Utah website, so you can find the webinar afterwards if you want to watch it again. It is recorded and placed there. There are also other courses online that you can access on demand. Again, everything's free to you. And then, of course, we have a vast library of resources to help business owners with forms and check sheets and workbooks and that type of thing to help you in working through your organization. So with that, please let us know if there's anything that SCORE can help you with. We'd appreciate it. I am going to stop sharing here and stop sharing. Where does it say stop sharing? Sorry about this. Well, there it is. Sorry. The buttons change every time I come in here. Okay, so thank you again. I want to welcome Jim Doyen. Jim has done a presentation for us before, so we know that he does a great job. Jim owns a company called Merch Marketing that focuses on helping small businesses move their marketing efforts forward. So with that, I'm going to let Jim take over. Questions and comments, please put them in the Q&A or in the comment section. We'll hold those until breaks during the hour, and we'll try to answer all of those at one time rather than interrupting. So Jim, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. My name is Jim Doyen. I'll get into a little bit more about my background and why I'm here. But I will like to start off by saying congrats to all of you for being a part of this and in being involved in SCORE. When I started my first business over 20 years ago, I didn't know where to go. And SCORE was such a helpful resource to me and really helped me to build out my business plan and my strategy. And at that time I was 21 years old. So it was cool to be able to put myself through college and do that through getting a head start with SCORE. So I'm really excited to be here and be able to give back a little bit. So as we go through my presentation, I want to keep a couple things in mind. There will be some time at the end where I'll answer questions, but if you have something to write with, get it out now. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions that'll help to really work through what we're going to go over today. So my game plan by the time we leave this today is that you'll actually be able to go to your next event, sign up for your next event where you're going to set up a booth and crush it. Do a lot better than you've done in the past. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to get into the presentation. If you have comments, put them in the chat. I'll get a chance to look during some of those times when we're paused. So with that said, let me get into, let me pull this up. Let's see, with this webinar. And of course it's not showing up. There we go. All right. So we're going to go over the first step to winning at events. That is the goal for today. With that said, why events matter. So to me, human to human connection, especially in this day and age with AI or with AI and everything else, digital, being able to get at an event, set up a booth, and get in front of your audience is priceless. And it builds so much. There's trust, credibility. There's so many things that come from it. But a lot of business owners and businesses in general that I've seen just don't have a set system. So that's what we're going to go through today. It gives it gives you a chance to really share with your customer your story, build that relationship, share with them your product or service, and it allows them to see who you are. Especially now, everybody wants to know who the owner of the brand is, who's behind the company. It's more of building that relationship and that rapport rather than just a product or a service. Events give you that opportunity to do that. If you've done events before, some of the things that you might have ran into, one thing for me when I first started was not knowing if it'll be worth my time or money. And I could tell you there's a lot of events that I did do when I first started that I left there thinking like, oh, the promoter just didn't put me in the right spot. Oh, I didn't do well because the weather was bad, or there's so many different things that we can look at and focus on that might be negative for events. But if we do them right, I think we're going to find that they're really successful. So just so we're on the same page, and I want to make sure if you're going to spend time in this webinar with me, that you know that this is the right spot. So when I say event, I want you to think of it as you or your company setting up some kind of table, booth at a gathering and for a specific reason. So that could be for generating brand awareness. It could be for selling products, just for getting lead gen. It could also be if you're trying to hire a new recruit, somebody for your business to come and work. And this looks so different in so many different ways. I mean, it could be just a small pop-up shop, a huge trade show, anything where there is, again, a booth, a table, somewhere for you to set up and show who you are at a gathering and that specific audience we're going to go through. But that's important because we want to make sure we're at the right event. So the right events attract attendees who are actively looking for your product or solution. And that's what we have to look at this as we go through today. Like, are we at the right event that is going to bring in the people that we're trying to get in front of? And is there going to be enough in attendance that makes sense for us? Not every event is going to be a winner. It's up to us to do our due diligence beforehand, ask the promoter the right questions, find out how many people are going to be there, and then we can kind of build from there. So today, what I want to help you to get a better understanding of is how to find the right event, how to attract attendees at the booth, so important. How do you connect and build the relationships with those attendees, not only during the event, right? But there's steps to take prior to the event to start to build up that momentum, that excitement, let people know you're going to be there. And then there's a whole follow-up sequence to do when you get back. And then how do you follow up after? And that's to push them into, are you trying to get a sale? Whatever it is, what are you doing to follow up? And then how do we know at the end, was the event a success? To me, I really I played sports growing up. I love sports. I like to look at events as the big game. Anybody that's played sports know that if you don't prepare, if you don't practice, when the game time comes, if you're not ready, you're not going to execute. That's how I look at events. Finish line, what are we doing to finish? And if you've done events before, especially if it's like a big trade show where you're gone for multiple days, you get back to the office, and next you're so caught up with your normal day-to-day that a lot of times you put what you just accomplished at the event on the back burner. You can't do that. Otherwise, the event wasn't worth your time. You're always going to make connections at events. I don't care how big it is or how slow it is, it will always have some kind of opportunity for you if you do the right things. But if you don't cross the finish line, as I like to put it, or finish strong, you're not going to get the return out of it that you could. So, all right, I'm going to put this, and if this link doesn't work, oh, it's not letting me click on it. I am going to actually as soon as we have a break here, and you ask you the first questions to kind of write down, I'm going to find the link to this document right here, Events Create Movement. I'm going to give you this document. This is going to help you on your own to go through this checklist and make sure you're ready to go for the game, pre-game, game time, and finish line. So from there, you can download the checklist and use it. So get something to write with, get this checklist to follow through. And then the third thing I want to tell you about is I'm not going to sell you anything on this presentation. This isn't what this is about. There's nothing there. However, I am doing a free workshop that is going to break down what we go over today in a lot more detail on May 7th. So I will send, if anybody's interested in that, I will send me an email, and that my information will be at the end of this. But send me an email, and we will. I'll send you the invite, the code to get in for free to what is normally going to be a paid workshop. All right. So right now, as we get started, do me a favor, drop in the chat, and I'm going to go back in and look at these. But number one, have you tried events before? And then number two, what is your biggest frustration with events right now that you're seeing, that you're facing? And I want to know this because I can absolutely talk about it during this presentation or at the end to try to really fine tune this to help you more. And number two on that, why you felt you haven't been successful at events. There's a lot, and I touched on a few of them, of things I've heard my clients say or things that have happened to me at events that could have been a lot better if I did differently. I'd like to know from you. All right, for context, I started doing events in 2009. The picture on the left there is me at a bar where bands were playing for my clothing brand, Ink Addict Apparel, that I started back in 2007. Ended up selling that company in 2020. It's still out there, inkaddict.com. And they're still going strong. But I built this out of my basement with zero funding and turned it into a multi-7-figure brand. And I did it by doing events. It wasn't the only way, but a huge way that we grew into a brand that was global, that a lot of different people knew in the industry, was from getting out in front of my audience at events and doing it in the process I'm about to share with you. The second photo here is at an outdoor music festival. The third is one of the biggest fashion shows in the country, Agenda, where we were set up next to booths like Vans, Burton, a lot of like your household clothing brands, Stance socks that were all there. And here I am, someone that started in my basement without any funding next to them going, how did I get here, right? It was pretty cool. On the bottom is we did a lot of events for other people where my agency, Woodward Movement, did events and screen printed and got other people's brands out in front of their audiences. Woodward Movement, that was my agency. Again, that was more trade show focused, but got in front of our audience. Very expensive booths, but again, made sure that the event was right for us. Merch marketing, my company, I am trying to reinvent the way people look at merchandise. Instead of just a product, I believe that businesses need to understand systems, and we call those merch systems, that will help you grow. Merchandise is just a way to make that human to human connection. What I see is too many people buy merchandise without a plan, without a strategy and a system in place, and you're losing so much opportunity. Merchandise alone, if put into your business properly, can help you grow. And on a low budget, you can find merch. You could do stickers if you don't have a big budget. But either way, there's a system to do it. And that's what merch marketing is. It's about combining merchandise, the merch systems. We also have an automation system that does marketing outreach, CRM, customer follow-up, all of that for you. And we do it all in one platform that's scalable called a growth path. We also have a free community and this is all on our website, merchmarketing.com. So I talked about merch systems. Booth Breakthrough, which is what we're going through today, is one of our 4 merch systems that we're launching with. If you have done events or are looking to do events, this is going to help you. If you have a brick and mortar retail store, if you are have a fitness studio, if you are already doing retail in some way, shape, or form, what we teach you in Retail Reach is how to reach your audience, build that promotion around your product using other items that fit into your customer's lifestyle. Forever Fan, that's our merch system that helps with memberships, VIP programs, loyalty, and referral programs. And then Merch Giving is a strategic gifting and referral campaign that we help you put into your system that builds from your current customers, from your employees. And so those are just a few that we're launching with, but we're also going to launch some of the other ones at the bottom that you see there. All right, let's get into this. Events create movement. And I wholeheartedly mean that. You can create a movement around your brand by doing events. And it doesn't matter what your brand is, who your customer is. If you follow and go to the right events with the right audience and give people that one-on-one, that human-to-human connection, tell them your story, you're going to create followers that are going to go out and share your story with everybody they know. So this right here, the pregame is what we're going to go over first. There's 6 steps. We're going to go over some more in greater detail than others. That 2-hour class that I'm going to do in a couple weeks here, that will go over all this in a lot more detail. But when you bring it all together, you procure the right event, you plan properly, you bring in the partners, you promote it, you play the game and the product, which is what we're going to go over here. You're going to get a movement around your brand. And these are just some of the things that, giving away the right products, getting the band at the festival to do autograph signing at your booth. If you are, let's use again the example of health and wellness, fitness, and you're out at an event and you have a booth set up and you're trying to get people involved. When I say plan and partner, where we should be thinking is how we are bringing somebody in our community that can help to drive attention to our booth. So in that case, can you do a fitness overview or educational talk or a yoga class right at where your booth would be at the event? I've seen it. It's a great way to draw attention and get people engaged with you on a different level. That's just not you standing there handing out a flyer or whatever you might be handing out that people don't really know or care about. Procure and plan, right? What we're going to do right now is get out our paper and our pen and paper, our notebook, whatever we have. And I want you to think about if you were to go to an event, if you were to go set up in front of somebody, number one, what's your goal for being there? What would it be if you were to go in front of somebody? Would it be to sell product? Would it be just to get connections? Because in the end, if that's our goal, we need to think about what are we doing to get more of that, right? So when we say procure our event, let's make a list now of all the events that we can find, start locally and then grow regionally, nationally. But let's make a list of all the events that we can find that might fit the demographic of who we're going to try to serve at that event. So if our goal is to sell, and I have a clothing brand that is based around a lifestyle, a tattoo lifestyle, like Ink Addict, right? The events that I made lists of were local, anything to do with music, local to do with tattoo studios or tattoo events, car shows, auto shows, just local DIY festivals where there's creative people there. Like, think beyond the normal event that might stick out to you and like really start to dig down on what type of event and make a list of that. The next thing is to connect with the promoter, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we want to make sure, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of events. You have to make sure to fact check. So many events will tell you, oh, this is how many people we're going to have. This is who's going to be there. Dig deeper to find out and make sure before you make the investment that that actually aligns. Plan. Next is the plan. Strategy. What are you going to do to drive focus to your brand at the event, right? Like, what can you do to add value? And when you plan, like, these are just some of the things to think about. Calendar, like, when is it? Get it on the calendar. Think also about if you're going to set up a booth, give yourself time to make sure your booth is going to look good. So if you need product, get it. If you're going to hand anything out, get it in advance. Don't wait till last minute and then all of a sudden you're stuck handing something out that no one wants. Who needs to be involved from your team? Community is huge, and we're going to talk on that a lot. Community is so big. How can you bring in your community to help you at your event and promote them as well? Look at the cost and budget to do all of those things we just talked about. And then you'll keep going back to your plan and fine-tuning it with the other P's for pregame that we're going to talk about. Most events fail because there is no plan and you haven't done the right research. That's a fact. So, some questions to ask the promoter. Number one, who's going to be there? What type of audience? How many people they had in the past? What they're doing to bring in more people this time. And here's one a lot of people don't think about. What other vendors are going to be there? And this covers two things. When you know what other vendors are going to be there, number one, you know your competition. But number two, it's also a check and balance to know if all those other vendors have nothing to do with your customer, something's not adding up. Or you found a great event that you're going to be that lone brand at that is going to drive a lot of attention if done right, because there's no other competition there. But these are good things to know before. And those are questions you can ask the promoter. What it also does is when you ask the promoter what you can do as a brand. You know your strengths. And if not, there's a course that we have in the community that you can understand your 6 pillars. And one of them is understanding your brand. If you know your strengths, you can ask that promoter, if I was to do this for your event, back to the yoga example, if I was to give a free yoga class at this event, would it help get across what you're trying to do at this event? And a lot of times, if you ask that properly and they align with your mission, your branding, what you're trying to accomplish, you're going to get an opportunity to do these things at a very low cost, which other people, bigger brands, might have to pay for sponsorship or whatever else. And you might have to pay sponsorship. You might have to pay a little bit more. But in the end, you're going to find it's worth it. Because an event that you went to before that wasn't very successful, now you're the center of attention. That promoter is going to put you in the best spot because they want you to bring value to the event. Play the game. That's the next in the 6 Ps. Play the game. We just talked about value. Don't just bring value to the promoter and the event, we have to think about it from a bunch of different levels, and we're going to hit on that in the next slide. But right now, I want you to take 2 minutes. I'm going to go through the notes and see if there's any questions here while you do this, and I'm going to put that link in there. But I want you to take 2 minutes and just write out, what can you do that fits your brand? What could you do at an event that fits with your company, your brand, and your mission? Like we said, what is your reason for being there? Don't think of it just to go and sell your product or go and just tell people about who you are. It's not a good value add for anybody. And then secondly, what can you do that fits your customer? Okay. So if you are going to sell, that's fine. But what value can you add that's going to fit into what they are doing? All right. We'll take 2 minutes and look and see if there's any questions. All right, I just dropped that events create movement checklist in the chat. So if you're looking at that, you can go ahead and download it. Let's see. Going through these questions. So Elizabeth asked, where do I locate proper events? That's a really good question. The best that I found is just to Google and start going down that rabbit hole. I would imagine chat, you can find a lot as well. But you have to understand first, what is your goal? What is your mission? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you know your avatar, who you're trying to sell your service or product to? And then that should help you. Yeah, Jennifer, lack of team communication to promote or bring goods. Definitely see that a lot. Hopefully this checklist will help you. And we are going to cover some of the goods to bring, the merch to bring, and how to set that up in the class. We go over in a lot more detail, where you actually will, at the end of the class, you'll have like your product picked out for you and time frame and strategy with your team. The Redwood Market, Jenny assist. It was the wrong crowd for my rhinestone baby stuff. Definitely. Again, I think we've covered a lot of that so far, just planning and making sure you've done the research. Michael builds events, very cool. Michael, reach out to me. I'd love to see what events, and if I know any of my clients that are looking to get into that type of event. And yeah, making connections at events, huge. All right, cool. Let's keep going. So when I talk about partnering, I want you to understand, again, it's not just about partnering with a promoter. We did talk about that. Jenny, that link, or Did that link not show up? Oh, I did it to host and panelists. I'm sorry. Thanks, everybody. Here, let's try this again. Let me know if that worked. Got it? Okay, sweet. All right, I'm gonna keep going. So partner, when I talk about partnering at events, the whole goal is to bring your community together, right? And I look at it in 4 different ways. There's 4 different types of partners I like to include in every event I do. Promoter, number 1, we already talked about that. Partners, who are you doing business with? Who is in your circle right now that you know if you brought to this event that has the right audience at it, that those partners could add value. And the cool part about it is if you do this properly, if you set it up right, those partners are going to see a ton of value from you, and that's going to increase your level of partnership. Event goers, like, so again, whether it's you're selling somebody something or you're just trying to get attention, you're trying to get leads, whatever it is, what can you do to even get them involved? For instance, what we used to do in Ink Addict Days at events is I would have some type of thing that I would do that I would work with the promoter on, early tickets, a giveaway, some kind of access that I would give away on socials prior to the event. So event goers, people that are going to be there, get excited. They know I'm going to be there. It's adding value. Again, value, value, value. Like that's the number 1 thing you should ask. What kind of value? And then influencers, like who in your world can you either invite that's going to be beneficial to them? And this is different than partners because partners are people you're already working with. How can you extend your reach and bring in influencers or other people that at this event, people are going to look up to them? Ink Addict Days, I had artists, like well-known artists in the area coming in, doing a graffiti wall. People got stoked on it, right? They were giving away like tagging, designing skateboards, and I would give them away to my top clients or people that came in and placed big orders. Like there's so many different ways that you could do it. It's up to you to be creative. All right, partner, tell your story, ask questions, engage. So, that's what we just talked about, like who, and this is an example of what I just talked about. This is at Riot Fest, a huge festival in Chicago. I worked with 3 different tattoo studios who brought in each different artist. And as you could see in this photo on the right side of the wall, the artists are doing something really cool. On the left side of the wall, we had trademarked Leave Your Mark wall where fans would line up. And by the way, this is all right next to my booth. So it's drawing attention, getting sales, getting leads. And the fans are there drawing on the wall next to these artists, talking with the artist. We're handing out, every one of my team members handed out a flyer to everybody that came by the wall. The flyer was about the partner that was there. It was about the artist and saying, book your next appointment with one of these awesome artists that is here, right? That's bringing in your community. So when I say that, like, that's where I want you to think. And again, it's different from everybody. If you're B2B, you can bring in a partner that maybe is doing education and sitting down and talking with people, or whatever that looks like. There's a lot of B2B clients we've done and gone like live screen printing at the booth for, printed on journals, printed on shirts, done a lot of different things that bring in the community. So product, right? Like there's 5 different areas that I want you to think about. Number 1 is your booth. Like you want to look your best. And it doesn't have to break the budget, but you want to make sure you look presentable. Number 2 is a product for attention and activation. So in this case here, there's the flyers, cheap, right? It goes a long way. QR codes, like something with a QR code. Maybe your attraction, what you're doing is a contest. So what product are you buying for the contest? In this scenario here at this booth, Like we had posters. Actually, it shows it better in this one. The poster here, like we gave those away to everybody to sign and get autographed by the bands. It was a very low cost for us, but guess what that did? They now took that home and they put it on their wall. And now we're getting brand impressions with every single event we're doing. The bags that you see in the bottom, everybody that bought something from our booth got a bag. And I think we even gave away, yeah, we gave away free backpacks to a certain amount of people that walked through the gates, the first people that walked through the gates. Again, partnering up. So these are all products that we did, right, for attention and activation. Next is your team and your employee. How are we making sure that they look the best, that they're presentable, that everybody matches and looks good? And then I like to look at giveaways. You see a lot of people at booths giving away product that no one is going to use. It's the same thing as the table next to them. No one wants a huge logo on it with a brand that they don't even follow or know. We have to be very, very strategic with the products we give away. And I like to do it in two different ways. Number one, what is something that is going to fit your customer that's going to be at that event, right? The person you want to talk to. What is something they're going to want? For Vegas, for a booth, we did chapstick. It's dry. So people flying in from all over the world that aren't used to that dry environment, they're going to stop by our booth for chapstick if they see good chapstick, right? Something different. That's your small booth to bring people in, or your small product, sorry. Your special product or your limited product, that's something in the back, something behind you that when you're talking to somebody and telling them your story and asking them questions and getting to know them, if they're a fit for you for whatever your purpose is, give them something special. Give them something that fits exactly with their lifestyle, that costs you more money, but it's something that is going to make a very good impression, something they're going to get stoked about. And you'll see that that'll come back and be very beneficial. For my agency, we did an event and it was in Vegas, and we gave away hats, like nice custom hats that we gave them to everybody that came in. And there was 6 months later, I was at an event locally here in Salt Lake, and someone came into the event wearing that hat. 2 weeks later, that person that was wearing that hat became a customer because I had a personal conversation with them because they had that hat on and talked about how much they loved it. And even though they weren't my contact in that company, after that, they put me in contact with who I needed to talk to. So stuff like that you don't even expect, but you made a good impression and then it's already there. Yeah, here's just the promote, right? Like we did this before. So one of the last P's is to promote before the event. So here, be one of the first ones at our booth and get a free bag. And so everybody was walking around with these bags. It was super cool. All right. One way to look at this and with community is you can either try to attract your ideal customer by standing out and saying, like trying to hand out flyers, whatever it is, or you can act like a magnet, right? Like bring your community into your booth so then they can promote for you. So in all the cases, everything I just shared with you, my whole point is to drive awareness to your booth through your partners, your community, and you're going to see your booth be a heck of a lot more successful. All right. So again, that was like pregame, right? That's all the stuff for pregame. If you have any questions on pregame, drop them in the chat right now. If you had any problems downloading that checklist or whatever, let me know. But let's take a minute right now. If there's any questions about pregame, anything that we just went over, drop it in chat, and then we'll get on to some things to do like during the event, and then we'll finish with what to do after the event. All right, sweet. Doesn't look like any questions. Cool. I'm gonna keep going.
Jim, there is one question in here from Michael saying, right now, how are we going to know if we can get merch on time? The world just got strange in the past 3 weeks. Empty cargo ships are showing up. People are burying inventory. Signs are going to be so expensive. Any thoughts on that comment?
I mean, Michael, the easy question is get a hold of us. That's what we do every day. And yeah, there are definitely there's a lot of uncertainty and unknown with the market right now, but there's also a lot of product, a lot of different channels to get, we call it the perfect product, right? Like it doesn't have to be what you first think of in what you want to give to somebody for merch. We can find you something with a 2-day lead time, 3-day lead time, up to some of our custom programs are 60 days out, right? So everything that we do is to find like where you're trying to reach your customer, what you're trying to find, what the perfect product is for you, and what fits within your budget, timeline, all that stuff. And trust me, there's a lot of products still out there and will be. So definitely get a hold of us there. Let's see. Anything? Let's see. I think that's it for questions. And yeah, Elizabeth says possibly try local vendors in your community and area. Like, yeah, for sure. Like there's so many. Once you understand again who you're trying to attract to your booth, then you can find the product that fits. And it's just knowing all of those things before. All right, cool. Thanks for the question so far. I love it. Let's keep going. All right, so we talked a lot about pregame, and some of this, even in game time, has to do with setting it up for your success during the event. And so with that, like these, some are simple and easy to think about. Others are like there's actually a set system and some of the process. But all right, so gear up. Be prepared. Something I've seen a lot is like people don't give themselves enough time to prepare and set up properly. If they give you an opportunity to go before and set up. Make sure you're ready to go and make sure that when that event starts, you are on point, you look good, you've done in the class, you'll get like a whole checklist of all the things to do before, you know, make sure you have backup apparel to wear in case something happens, making sure you have all the battery packs and everything else for technology, even if it's getting your phone set up, making sure that your whatever you're doing to capture information is working online and offline, right? There's a lot of times like, so Riot Fest, for instance, we're set up and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people all trying to be on their phones, and all of a sudden, Wi-Fi doesn't work. So what are you doing? What's your backup plan? And so those are things to think about. And there is an absolute like, strategy to that. This is one of my favorite things no one thinks about. And I've still to this day through all my businesses, have connections, whether it's customers or different partners that I met at events during this time. Once you get set up, walk around, meet your neighbors, meet all the other vendors that are there. If you have those products that we talked about, hand it to them, get their contact information, find out what they do. So when people come to your booth and maybe they're not a right fit for you, but you just met somebody a couple doors down, a couple booths down that would be a good fit for them, walk them over there or just tell them where to go. You're adding value again to your community, and that's what this is about. And it's why no matter how big the event is, you're going to have and find opportunities that you are going to help you to grow your brand, that human to human connection. All right. Get up. This is such an easy one. It should be something that everybody like is just an automatic, but it's not. And it's sad to me if you walk around an event, and I saw Michael say he appreciates this because it's so true. Get off your phone, get off your behind, and get up and look like you're excited to talk to people. No one wants to talk to you if you're sitting down, not engaged. No one wants to come to your booth. Get excited. If you have attention to your booth, people are naturally going to be drawn to that attention. Greet is a really important one, especially if you have anybody with you. You want to make sure you can tell your story in a way that isn't just talking about you. You're asking questions, you're engaging, and you're finding out why that person is there, what they're into. If you have product out, ask them what they feel, how they think, what they think about it, right? Getting that down like a very quick pitch on who you are and why you're there, who your customer is, that's going to be very, very important in whatever your mission is of being there and trying to kind of direct them that way. The next is give and get. And a lot of this will be done before. If we go back to one of these earlier slides with merch marketing, one of the things that I did when I built this company out is, we're sitting here talking about the merch system right now, about your booth. The automation, what we've done is in the booth breakthrough is giving you the tools, a QR reader that flows into automation that follows up immediately with the customer that signs up at your booth, which then sets them up into a sequence that either sets an appointment or directs them to a code on your store. But what I've seen of all the years and all the events I've done is that you get so busy behind that booth and you're trying to gather attention, or I'm sorry, you're trying to gather leads, and then they get lost, or someone puts their information in wrong, or handwrites it wrong and you can't read it, or you get back and you just forget to follow up. What we've done with our growth flow, which is a CRM system and marketing automation tool that fits with all of these merch systems, is we've created that where you don't have to worry about it. You just have to plan, which we give you the template, the form, all of those things. So when you put in and you gather their information, it now does the rest of the work for you. So just something to think about there with, as you're, let's see. No, sorry, I lost my spot. Yeah, with a give and get, getting their information, try to automate it, whether it's our system or somebody else's. But as you get their information, give them that gift, right? Give them whatever it is, give them something to walk away and know you by, and then promise them a follow-up. Like that's something right there that a lot of people don't do. Like whatever it is that you talk to them, promise them. And that's when you're planning out how you're going to talk to them. That's a really important one, is to plan, like, what is it that, hey, follow us on social. And if you tag us, we'll give you something, or, hey, email us or sign up for a call, whatever it might be, have a call to action there. And then lastly, like, we get so busy at our booths that a lot of times we forget it's one of our best opportunities to create content. So what I like to do is have somebody there just to create content at the booth that then we can use afterwards, we can use during. And if we're putting content out there on our social of like exciting stuff we're doing, people are going to be more engaged to interact with us on social. So it's not just, events just aren't a one-directional approach. There's a lot of different things we can get from events, and content for social is one of them. All right. So let's see, moving on. Here's the checklist that we'll go over, and we're kind of getting short on time. But there's a whole lot here. Screenshot this if you want. But there's a lot of information here of things to think about when you're at your booth. Like make sure you're set up, and things don't always go as expected to plan. And remember that. And it's okay. This was a festival in Wisconsin, a huge music festival. And we were set up. And the next day, we came to our booth, and I don't think it was a tornado, but something came through, and it was crazy to come to the booth the next day and see your booth like this. We ended up getting another booth. I had to drive like a couple hours away, got a huge tent, everything set up, and we were good to go by the time everything opened. But yeah, that wasn't expected, and it's okay. You just got to roll with it. We talked about gathering, meet your neighbors, build community. We talked about, what you can do before anybody else gets in there to really build with your neighbors and get them to be part of your community. Get up. We talked about that. Greet. We talked about that. Give and get. Definitely, we hit on automation, getting their information, and then generating content, right? And in here I put like create FOMO for the next event. Like if you do something really cool at your booth and you're gonna have another event coming up soon, like get people like mad that they or disappointed that they missed it, and they're not gonna miss the next one. All right, the last thing, finish line. What to do with the finish. So follow through, like we talked about, like hold true to your promise. Whatever you told people you were going to do it, no matter how busy you get. And when you have automation set in place, that's going to help you. But even if you don't, make sure you take the time, or have somebody on your team take the time to follow up. You just spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources at an event. And if you miss this part, and then you wonder why the event wasn't a success, it's on you. Forge, I love this one. And this is a good example. One of my very first events I ever did for Ink Addict. The event was horrible. No one showed up. But what I did was I walked around and I introduced myself to every single artist that was there, every vendor that was there. And I asked them, what are their events? What wasn't successful? What works? What doesn't? How I can help them. And I built relationships. This was like 15 years later. And my artist buddy, one of my best friends, is coming to my house, tattooing me. I'm flying to Baltimore to hang with him. We're doing business together. And it just shows that events, you create really cool connections if you get out from behind your booth and forge relationships. Foster, don't just try to sell. Foster the relationship. You made the great connections. People stop by your booth. They shared their story with you. Don't lose that personal connection. It's easy to think digital marketing, social media, just putting a post out there. Be personal. And then the last thing, well, second to last, financials. Run the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Brand impressions are something that at events are not really a trackable thing. But what I always used to like to do is see how many people went to the event, how many people I got emails from, how many people I sold product to. So then I know going forward, if an event has X amount of people, after a few of these, you can really find out what events are going to be successful. And there was like auto shows I'd go to with 20,000 plus, but because it wasn't my exact target, like a tattoo event, like I knew I wasn't going to have the same response. But you start to know these things, and you start to know what kind of budget you can put in. But it was after each event, spending the time that a lot of people don't, that will really help you out to make adjustments for next time. Thank you, Jenny. I just saw that typo. All right, fine tune. This is another one, kind of goes with financials, but don't just look at financials when you're done. Look at everything. Like when we pre-gamed and we came up with our plan and we looked at, what type of event it was, who was going to be there. We brought in our community. Think of that and think of what you can do to change to make the next one better. And then, like, whether it's a journal, whatever it is, like, make the change going forward. And like I said, the things that I always ask myself afterwards, like attendance, was it accurate? Was it what the promoter said? Most times I think you're going to find that, we all have high aspirations and goals. Like maybe the promoters was not where they said it was, and that's okay. You just have to know that going forward and what to expect. How many products did you hand out? How many leads did you get? And how many new connections, right? With partners. And then fuel. I always like to use the content and the connections to fuel the movement, because events can create movement if done properly. So next steps, email me. Here's my email, and I'll put it into the chat here. Jim@merchmarketing.com. Send me an email and I'll send you an invite to the class that we're going to have on the 7th. And if you can make it, awesome. And then from there, go to merchmarketing.com. You're going to see everything I've talked about today as far as our systems, as far as our merch. We have merch catalog. We're about to launch the perfect product finder. And if it's something like you're ready to, you need help and you want somebody to look at what you're doing or what you've done, book a call. You're either going to get myself or one of my teammates that's super knowledgeable in merch, or events or whatever it is, that if you're looking for retail for your store, whatever it might be, that we can help you out. And then the last thing, if you do need anything for merch, I just said that, but if you need anything for merch, definitely let us know. Join our free community on our website, and yeah, from there.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. This was fantastic. Thank you everyone for attending. We hope you got a lot of good information. You have Jim's contact information if you want to ask more questions. But again, thank you for attending, and please reach out to your SCORE mentor for additional guidance and support as you move your organization forward. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.